How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot to talk about in this video in regards to where wins meet. As we're heading into 2026, we have the roadmap of new content that is dropping for the game, and I would say that at this point we are getting into the most interesting point of where wins meet and how the content rollout is going to be, at least most interesting moment thus far. I'm sure with the major expansion that they're teasing for 2026, they already dropped a trailer for that, and everything else, there's going to be other very interesting moments, but I say that this is a interesting moment to assess because now we are off of the initial buzz of the game coming out. There's always that initial interest for a game whenever it drops where everybody is playing it, and then I would say 6 weeks to 8 weeks later, you kind of get the picture of where the game is going to settle at. There's been a lot of talk recently about Arc Raiders and Battlefield 6 in regards to where those games are settling at. The same thing can be said for where wins meet, and thankfully, they do have a lot of compelling content updates to come, and given that we've seen the content they've added in the Chinese version of the game and things to come, there seems to be a lot of exciting stuff, but right now the game is still, around the 90,000 player mark, and even though the game peaked at 251,000 players, being around, 100,000 was the peak over the course of the last 24 hours. That's still a very, very healthy number to be at. And the game is doing, I would say, pretty well. I think optically some people can make, oh, they lost over half their player base, but that's just kind of the natural course of events when it comes to these live service games. People play it and then they move on, and the thing about Where Wins Meet is because there is that single player emphasis, I think a lot of people played it at launch. They played it like me, where I played it solo, and then they move on with their life. They play other games, and Where Wins Meet is gonna be a game they'll eventually circle back to. I really do believe that's gonna be one of the biggest elements of this game, is that solo players are going to circle back to it like they would any other live service games, but generally speaking, a lot of those people wouldn't play live service games because they are kind of moved on from multiplayer games and so on and so forth. Nevertheless, we do have the roadmap for January 2026. Version 1.2 will be arriving on January the 8th, and that's a very big update to be mindful of, and I'll go over why, but let's go over the roadmap. So, you've got Solo Mode Level 10 Unbound. The level cap will be raised again. Heroes Realm Sorrow of Mortal Bound. Those will both be dropping January the 4th. So, early on in the new year, you'll have that. And by the way, they are kicking off the New Year's event, so if you want to celebrate New Year's and Where Wins Meet, you can do that. I don't know. A lot of us have moved on from the days of Ragers, so Where Wins Meet, celebrating your New Year's that way sounds pretty good to me. Week 2, Kaifeng Campaign and Legacy Quest will be rolling out on January the 8th. World Boss, the Nameless General, also on January 8th, and then the event, the Jianghu Martial Games, will be rolling out. Week 3, Puzzle Cave of Mistveil Prison will be rolling out on January the 15th. Event Guild Battle Preseason, January the 16th. Region 9 Mortal Ways Base on January 22nd, so that'll be week 3. And then week 4, Story Whispers Beneath the Moon on January 25th. Event Year of Abundance on January 29th, and then the Season End Dash on January 29th. That'll be concluding the season, as we are just past the halfway point of the season. End of January, we will be wrapping up the very first season of Where Wins Meet over here stateside. And again, you've got a new region that'll be rolling out, new story content, and other content that will be available. And now the game is available on PC, PlayStation 5, and mobile. And on January 8th, as I mentioned, there will be the 1.2 update, and this is going to be a sizable update for the game. They posted on their Discord page a while back. The UI optimizations are going to be rolling out, at least hopefully, with the version 1.2 update. Those UI optimizations include dialogue subtitle optimization by fixing text overflow and adjusting the font size. Text in the open world optimizes text display to avoid too much text from appearing at once. Kaifeng Tour Map interface localizes into multiple languages. Healer interface optimizes layout and display. Equipment tuning interface as well fixes text overflow and optimization, the localization for the musical notes for the above. And they also know we deeply appreciate the love and support from you wanderers. Every piece of feedback matters, and the UI issues was one of the most common things that I was seeing. I get that a game like this, maybe you could say, hey, it's more optimized for keyboard and mouse, but at the same time, even if you were playing with keyboard and mouse, it's not just the basis of it being a keyboard and mouse issue. There was so much text overflow and cluttering on the screen that was just difficult to navigate, and if you're gonna release the game on a console with controller support, it should be tailored and optimized to to an extent. If you want to say the ideal experience is on PC, that's fine, but it should be optimized in a way that you can navigate it. Now, I do think you can eventually figure out the UI. I don't think it's this arduous endeavor, but I saw comments on our videos. Somebody said that they had 50 hours on the game and they were still having trouble navigating the UI. It was either 50 or 60 hours. I was just like, all right, you know, that's a little extreme, but you know what? That's for me saying that's a little extreme. Other people, if that's an issue for them, and maybe that's an outlier of a scenario, but regardless, I do think the UI has some issues, and that's been the most glaring thing. Performance issues here and there have been there as well, and I know a recent update really did impact PC visuals as well, so hopefully all of that will be remedied in the coming weeks. But 2026 is going to be something really to assess, because now again we are off of that initial wave of people just being like, oh my god, this game is insane, they're offering this game for free. The novelty is kind of gone, and when the novelty is gone with these live service games, that's where you really settle into. But I just think Where Winds Meet is incredibly interesting, because guess what, I'm somebody that plays almost every new game release that comes out. I can't have this game being something I play perpetually, but when there is a dead period, and I think a lot of other people are gonna be like that, where they want a game that is a little relaxing that they can just kick back and play, they'll circle back to this game. And as long as they continually roll out content and it's not too much FOMO being implemented where people felt so left behind, I think that is sometimes inherently a flaw with these games. But because solo mode is so prevalent, I don't think that's real. Like, who are you gonna be left behind of in solo mode? You're just playing the game at your own pace, and I think there's gonna be reason to always come back. And from a design standpoint, that's something I really do appreciate. I know there's other games out there, some of the other gacha games, Wuthering Waves and whatnot, that are really well received, and you can play them solo, etc., and have a pretty good time. But as far as scale and spectacle goes, Where Winds Meet has been one of the most compelling games I've played on that end. Now, when January 15th rolls around, it's going to be very hard for me to keep up with this game with everything else coming out, and I think that's just naturally something that every game deals with, but that's fine, that's okay. As long as there are enough people that are gonna be supporting this game, you know, buying the microtransactions, then it can continue to be successful. And it's one of those games that, yeah, I might not spend a lot of money buying all of the microtransactions, but will I go back and will I spend money on the Battle Pass and the Season Pass? Yeah, that's what I will personally spend money on, and that's how I will support the game. Beyond that, as far as cosmetics go, you know, I'll leave the ballers to roll with that one. But yeah, that'll do it for me. A lot of new content will be rolling out in January, and things to sink your teeth into. And based on the content that has been rolling out in the Chinese version of the game, hopefully 2026 will be a big year for new content. And for those of you like me, it'll offer you an opportunity to step away from the game, and then 4 or 5 months of being away from it, you want to play it again, and there's all of this new stuff that you can sink your teeth into without too much FOMO. But that's gonna do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.